the answers he gave. And as much as it was an Arne Slot Q&A session, as the press conferences always start, Mo Salah dominated. Like Mo Salah dominates everything in football, Mo Salah now dominates press conferences as well. So there was questions about Mo Salah Ballon d'Or contract got mentioned as well. Arne Slot maybe opened the door to that slightly. You could argue when we discuss it, and just where he stands with the greats at the moment. So the Messi quote was mentioned at the same time as well. So let's get into it straight away. Now, the first question Arne Slot was asked by Vinny O'Connor at Sky was about Mo Salah. And as it started there, and you can hopefully see it if you're on YouTube on the screen, it's a good thing that Mo is in the discussion for the Ballon d'Or. Generally, someone who wins the Ballon d'Or needs to win a trophy as well. But for him to stay in that discussion, he should bring in the same performance as he's done for 7 or 8 months now. I think in general, someone that wins the Ballon d'Or needs to win something as well. So it's a great challenge in front of us, but also in front of him. Love that. What I liked a lot is he takes this challenge not only by scoring a big goal and a great assist, like against City, but also he wanted the team to win because his defensive work rate, especially in the second half, was outstanding. I think this is what it takes for us to have a chance of, or him to have a chance of winning something. And if we as a team can win something, he will have a far more better chance to win an individual prize like the Ballon d'Or. Almost since Sunday, I'd say onwards, the general football punditry, the media, just starting to take account, aren't they, of the Ballon d'Or and Salah. Finally, despite what we've known, putting him in that conversation. I think Arne Slot's right. I mean, for me personally, I know really why anyone gets fussed about a Ballon d'Or. It's never about personal awards. Yes, we love to recognise our players, sing the songs, but it is about a team game ultimately. But it might be important to Mo Salah. He's never really talked upon it, as far as I'm aware, too much like Trent Alexander-Arnold has, but it may be absolutely crucial. And he's absolutely right in what he says here, Arne Slot. If Mo Salah does have his eyes on a Ballon d'Or, and it's completely possible, we know how driven, we know he's aware of records, various factors, Liverpool are going to need to win something. It might, if we're honest, also come down to how we do in Europe. That plays a part in it at the same time. I think if we're completely honest on that. Either way, I don't really think it's up for debate. Is there anyone seriously saying to me right now, Mo Salah isn't the best player in Europe? I just think it's so obvious at the moment. But people may put other names on the docket, Vinny Jr., that type of name. I just think, as he was mentioned, Messi-esque numbers, and that came up in the press conference at the same time. What Arne Slot also said around Salah was Mo has had some outstanding seasons, and hopefully he has many more, but that would mean him signing a new contract. At least you guys don't ask me about that anymore. Now, that's kind of an abridged version that we tweeted out Anfield Index. So if you are getting the benefit of YouTube and you're listening to this, let's have a listen to what Arne Slot was asked and what he said fully at this part in the press conference.
And on his form, you sort of asked for this, but his form, does it make it easier for the club to want to extend his contract, or more difficult because of how well he's doing, in your opinion?
You can look at it in both ways. You can say, yeah, the better he does, the more expensive he might become. And the worst, if he would do really worse, we have second thoughts if we wanted to extend his contract. So I think for everyone, it's the best that he brings in the performances he does now. Maybe only for the one that has to pay him, it's not the best. But for everyone else, it's the best. Because if you want to play at this club, you need to be at his level. Otherwise, yeah, probably you're almost useless to play at this club, because we only need players that are at the top of their game. Because this is one of the best, or the best club in the world to play for. So, yeah, he needs to have these performances for him to play here. and hopefully to extend here.
These performances to hopefully play here and hopefully to extend here. I suspect this will get a few tweets with Arne Slot talking about Mo Salah's contract, but it was introduced by a journalist, and then I get exactly what he was saying in terms of if he maintains the performances, yes, it does get more expensive. So what? 3 words, really simple. Pay the man. The renewal talk now, I think that there may be a small element, I could be wrong on this, but a small element in the fan base thinking, okay, 3 years, I have to see where he is. I know that argument's come to fruition as to maybe why they're considering it in recent weeks. Look how many goals and assists, goal contributions Mo Salah has. Take those out the team, where are we? Is there a more important player to Liverpool right now? Van Dijk in the argument? No doubts about that at all. You can make a case. But in terms of getting us over the line, the big moments and against the big teams, it's Mo Salah, isn't it? So when he talks about contracts and people will say, is this news? Is he intimate anything? I'm not sure. Arne Slot has played everything pretty much with a straight bat so far. But when it now comes to Mo Salah's contract, pay the man. It really is that simple for me. Get it done. Him and Van Dijk, you just honestly cannot afford to let leave at the end of the season. You are seeing, regardless of the age, what they're producing. Trent, I think, is a different scenario on its own. I think we've all got our honest suspicions of what's going to happen there, but it's mentioned here. In simple terms, forget the name Salah. Would any other club be talking about a player who's got a few months left to run on his contract, who's a serious Ballon d'Or contender, the front runner, be talking about leaving on a free? It just wouldn't happen. Pay the man. Need to get that done before the end of the season. Other stuff that came out the press conference, there was a little bit on injuries there. So Alexis McAllister, I don't know if anyone saw that, had kind of a bashed up face after the City game. So he was asked about that. Arne Slot said, no, he trains with us today. He is absolutely fine. Was also asked about Conor Bradley and said he is out for a few weeks. I cannot tell exactly how many, but it's clear that he went off with a muscle injury and it's going to take a while before he is back. So, yeah, a few weeks without Conor Bradley and maybe a week between games isn't a bad thing with the right-back situation at the moment. So, we should say Jarell Quansah is the cover at right-back for Trent at the minute. I can't really think of anyone else unless anyone wants to comment or share differently. The other thing to say around injuries, no mention of Diogo Jota at all in today's press conference. I don't know if there was an embargo later on, so who knows. But the reason I'm mentioning Jota's name is Arne Slot did say post-match after City that Jota had told him he was suffering from tightness. And I've seen people adapt those quotes, but that he was tight, he wasn't ready for the City game. So I'm hoping the fact he's not mentioned means all good to go, ready to sort of step up for this Newcastle game that way as well. DK there saying, Salah and Messi, I'm an Argentinian and a Liverpool fan. Messi is the greatest ever, but Salah is the closest player I've seen to be able to recreate his vision and scoring ability with the left foot. I mean, that is praise from an Argentinian in whole, isn't there? No two ways about it. You have to praise Mo Salah and what he's done. I'm one of those that despises comparisons. I really are. I get bored of all that. What is it? The Gerrard, Lampard goals talk that goes on. I get bored of like the Messi, Ronaldo. I just appreciate greatness. I think a Slot answered this, so I didn't really touch upon it too much. As to use his words, it's unfair to compare them, so I've never wanted to do it. But just the fact you are mentioning Salah in the same breath tells its own story completely. And the only other real notable call out from the Q&As was about the title in that situation? Is the race over? He said, I don't think I even need to enforce that message because these players are the ones that played. And I know the Forest fans are going to like me for saying this again, but these players played the Forest home game. These players played the Fulham home game. These same players played the United home game and the Newcastle away, which was a difficult game for us. 2 times being a goal down and then being 1 up and eventually drawing it 3-3. So I don't think it's necessary. These players are so long in this competition, even much longer than me. So they know how difficult every single game is. And if you have to play 11, that it's still a long way to go. I love what he's saying here. I mean, the Premier League table looks a beaut, doesn't it? 11 points clear, 27 games played. Yes, Arsenal have a game in hand, but Forest being their next one, how difficult is that for them? It's, as we know, a very tough place to go. But that doesn't mean it's over. Yes, the odds are there. I think the supercomputer says the 97,654 probability or something of us winning the league. 7 of the 11 games are at home. But the mentality cannot change. The eyes are on the prize until it's done. That simple. So I did love that answer that Arne Slot gave. And there was a little bit about Newcastle and praising Isaac and different players there and Eddie Howe, but we'll come to that very shortly. In fact, as we always do in post-conference presser, let's rewind to this one. 2-0 at the Etihad. What are the lessons that ever we take from that? Who'd have thought we'd be saying 34% possession and dominant? Usually, if there's a 34% possession stat, it's the opposition, hasn't it, when we battered them at Anfield. But we had 34% of the ball, that 4-2-4 out of possession. We were organised. I won't say we looked impregnable, but it was Van Dijk and Konate especially, an absolute rock. How well did so many players play? I mean, we know what Salah's like and what he doesn't. It's funny that it's me, Everest, saying, I don't like comparison anymore. I just want to cherish every moment of success we have with Salah. So do I, pal. Let's hope it's for many a year longer. So Salah, the star. But Szoboszlai as well, it's important to mention, the real chief of the supporting cast, a goal, an assist. And in fact, it was nearly 2 assists for Curtis Jones, wasn't it? It was just offside. How many runs did he make? And you saw him afterwards. He fell to the turf, didn't he, at full time? Absolutely exhausted in this one. And that'll feed into my lessons in the Newcastle scenario that I'm going to sort of stare into at this. The only other real thing that that's sort of I really take from this is at the forwards a little bit thinking, he keeps playing all these midfielders, doesn't he? Maybe it's because it's away. Villa away, all the midfielders. You could argue Gakpo was injured, that's some element. But City, Gakpo was back. 4 senior midfielders selected again. You just wonder if it makes it a forward, especially because Salah's going to be one of the 2 spots. It seems really difficult to get back into this team. Jota, again, if Jota was fit, I'm sure that probably would have been a different scenario. But the midfielders are just giving him a real option, shall we say, of playing all 4 of them and moving from there. And also, when I'm talking about midfielders, I love to see Endo got a bit longer. Did anyone clock that? 20 minutes or so. Maybe, just maybe, time will tell on this. Does he trust Endo a bit more? Because we love that man. When he whacks his gum shield in, he makes the challenges. He does what's needed to do late on. Maybe City's just another affirmation. He's starting to trust Endo. We'll have to see what happens in the next few games to validate that. But so much to like from that game.